So a local lender that is right there, easy to access in the same time zone, well known in the community, had other transactions with that same agent that's listing this property, that is a great way to win a deal. Hello, welcome to Closing Chapters, Everyday Real Estate Tales. I'm your host, Brittany Fry. I'm a realtor, I'm a military wife, and I'm a mom. Join me and come transaction by transaction throughout my real estate career starting back in 2016 to hear about the highs, the lows, and the unexpected turns along the way through all of my customers. It's going to be a crazy ride, you guys. I am so excited to share the past, the current, and then what's coming in the future. Hang tight for the ride. Join me about being a realtor, a military spouse, and a mom. Can't wait to see you there. Hey friends, welcome back. If you were with me last week, then you listened in on part 1, all about lenders, looking through the consumer's eyes. So from the buyer's lens, why is it so important for you to talk to a lender before you start the home buying process? And what is important about choosing a lender for you and your particular situation. So if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to last week's episode, right? And get caught up on that. And even if you're a real estate professional, there's some really good tips and tricks in there about having conversations with your buyers about why they need to start with the lender, what they should be asking of a lender, and making sure that everybody is happy. So this week, we are going to hash out part 2 of this series and talk about lending from the real estate professional side, okay? So as a real estate professional, I always have my Rolodex, right? I always have several people on my list that I prefer to work with, that I have created a relationship with, I have had a transaction with them. We've had an opportunity to talk about what they can offer to my clients, how they best serve my clients, our mutual clients at that point, if they work with them. And then I get a great lay of the land, right? So for me, there's a couple of different things that I have to be thinking about, paying attention to, and being set up for, okay? So I have, my preferred lenders. We all typically tend to have those people that we just really enjoy working with. They make the transaction easy, they're very informative, and my clients love them, right? And that is great. I also realize that I have different clients in different phases of life, right? I have different clients that have different needs. And it's my job, so to speak, right? Now, when I say this, realtors don't jump all over me for saying it's my job to find them the right lender. It is our job to be the trusted advisor. Let me put it that way. So when somebody comes to us and they need a lender, they need a handyman, they need a home inspector, right? That's when we start flipping through our Rolodex and say, okay, here's who I've got. And I think this would fit you well. And it is not always a one-size-fits-all scenario, okay? So when you are starting your business, I just had a conversation earlier today with a gentleman that is going to be starting his real estate business this summer. And I said, one of the best pieces of advice that I always got when I started real estate was, you've got to eat, okay? You eat 3 meals a day. Don't eat them alone. Find somebody to go eat with. Go talk to a friend, a neighbor, and invite them to lunch or dinner, right? Go talk to another coworker that's been in the business for 5+ years and go invite them to lunch. Have a happy hour, even if it's a sweet tea, with a preferred lender, right? Or any lender. Lenders love to go out to eat for lunch. And it's a great opportunity to just kick back in a really relaxed environment and say, hey, what programs do you enjoy doing? What are your options? What's your niche? Who do you take care of the most, right? Because just like in real estate, lenders are in the same hue where they may serve a mass amount of people across a spectrum, but they probably have a preferred niche, whether it's going to be VA military clients or FHA loans, or maybe specifically first-time home buyers, or they are jam up at those USDA loans, which is rural housing, right? And they really enjoy doing that. Or what if they have really gotten in the nitty gritty and learned the ins and outs of all of these different grant programs or down payment assistance programs, and that is their bread and butter? That's really important to know. And not all lenders offer the same products. So you need to have a couple of lenders that can do different things in your pocket. And I'll tell you too, this is the way that I've always had it set up in South Carolina. I have 3 lenders that I really enjoy working with, and those 3 lenders are all very different. So I will explain to my clients, hey, I've got my lender, that's my mama bear, that's going to hold your hand and take you step by step. I've got my numbers guy that's just going to crunch the numbers for you. So if you send over a house and say, hey, where am I at? What's my bottom line? Right? He's going to do that. He doesn't mind. He'll throw the scenarios together for you all day long. And then I've got, my really laid back, laissez-faire, like, you tell me when to hit the button and we'll go kind of person, where if I have an experienced buyer that's like, hey, I'm all good. I know exactly what I want. I'm not worried about the numbers. You don't have to explain it all to me. I get it. And I just need you to write it up and let's go. Who's the lender that you can get it done the quickest? Okay, so there's different needs for each person. And additionally, right, if I have my first time home buyer, maybe they need some down payment assistance. So I need to know which one of those lenders offers down payment assistance programs. Sometimes there's state grants, but sometimes there's other very specific programs that each lender may or may not have. And let's jump off the VA wagon for a minute. Let's say we're a first time home buyer, not VA eligible, right? Who has programs where you can tap into some of the education and bring down the down payment from the 3.5% to maybe 3%? And I know that sounds like not a lot, but like I said last week, right? 0.5% on the sales price of a house could be a couple grand. That could be going toward their closing costs. That could be going towards their first payment. That could be furnishing the house. Who knows, right? Why would you say no to that? But if you don't know about it, or you don't have a lender that has that program to offer, then you're not saving your client money. So it's really important that we pay attention to all these things. And additionally, we need to know who can get the job done and who's going to communicate well with us, all right? So if I'm using you as a preferred lender or vendor in general, all right, communication is open. I am making the introduction more than likely most of the time, or I've already sent you a message and said, hey, you need to expect contact from Joe. He's going to call you in the next couple of days. And at that point, then we are open door policy. So I need the updates. If I message you, you need to get back in touch with me, right? If we're going through scenarios, I need to know about those scenarios. And that's what I absolutely love about my preferred lender that I work with the most in Tennessee. He does these jam up videos where he goes through and does all the different scenarios, not just one, but a couple different scenarios based on whatever we have discussed, and says, hey, this is the comparison between X, Y, and Z. This is what matters. This is what doesn't. If I shift this, this is how it affects it. This is probably your best overall, but just so you can see across the board where it lies you. It's awesome. He did my personal mortgage recently and did the same exact thing for me. And my husband was so impressed. It was really cool. So finding those people that will do the extra step and talk to you and be involved with you is really important. There's some lenders that just want to shut the realtor out and do their part and I'll see you at closing. I don't work that way. We're a team and we're all going to communicate together, right? I understand there's some things you cannot disclose to me, and I understand that, the buyer needs to handle their own finances. I don't want to be involved in their finances. The less I know, the better off I am in terms of that. However, if there's a contingency, if there's something I need to help them with, if you have a deadline on paperwork and it's just not happening, then you need to be my team member. And you need to bring me in on that, because I can't help you be successful or explain what's going on to my client and tell them the sense of urgency and support you unless it's an open communication between all parties, right? So these are some of the things that I really look for in my lender partners. And additionally, I want to say this is something I was talking to somebody with recently. I was talking to a lender that said, hey, I know we haven't been working together that long and I haven't been able to send any business your way yet, but just know I'm trying. And I was like, that's fantastic. And thank you so much for letting me know that. However, it's in my world, I kind of see it like the reverse, right? It's really hard to expect that consumers are going straight to a lender first. They don't usually know to start there if they're a first-time home buyer. And nonetheless, most agents will tell them, hey, let me hook you up with another agent in a different area, and they will give you some contacts of their preferred lenders. Because as a whole, we all have our people that we know, like, and trust. And other realtors know that. So it's still perfectly fine to always start with the realtor. So in this relationship, right, I told the lender, I said, hey, I don't really expect you to always be sending me clients. If you get a referral and I can help, that's fantastic. But I feel like it's supposed to be the other way around, right? Most of the time, people are getting connected with an agent first, a realtor first, and then we need to help them secure the financing. We need to guide them in the right direction depending on their scenario. And I said, however, so cue the lenders if you're listening in here. This is something that was a big conversation on a real estate forum. I was on a Zoom call that we talked about recently. So listen up, because if you're not doing this, I know most of you probably do or are offering it, then do it. Like, get on this bandwagon, okay? So as a realtor, I was told, if you are working with a preferred vendor, and it's a give and take, right? You can't just be giving them clients, and then not getting anything back out of it. And I am a giver and not a taker most of the time, so this idea is hard for me. But I passed this information along to this lender because I was like, have you done this? And what it was is that they said, if you are not getting referrals from that vendor, then what else are they doing for you? And the number one thing a vendor can do for a real estate agent is sponsorship. So anytime they have an event or anything going on, the lender, the home inspector, the appraiser, whoever is on that partnership team there, those vendors, should be helping with sponsorships. So I said, hey, have you ever teamed up with another agent you're working with and sponsored an event with them, like a client appreciation event or something like that? And the lender said, well, I thought I had an opportunity and it never came to fruition. So if you get the chance to do that, let me know and I will 100% back you, and it'll be our first. Because I have never teamed up really well with another vendor and asked them for money. It just feels icky to me. Like, I feel like, but it's the reality, right? We are partnerships. And let's face the truth. If we're doing our business right, most of our customers have crossover there, right? So if we did a client appreciation event, then there's a handful of people that are going to be there that use that lender. And what if we had an appreciation event where we said, hey, bring a friend, bring a neighbor, bring, one of your kids' parents that you just met that came into town 3 weeks ago. Bring somebody that I don't know and let's make an introduction. That way, if they ever have any real estate needs, if they ever need a mortgage, they've got a great team in hand, in their pocket, right? And this can be done both ways. There's no reason why a mortgage lender couldn't invite some of his favorite people that are in the same area and say, hey, I'm doing this joint client appreciation event. Come meet and greet, because the reality is take us out of the picture, take the lender, take the real estate agent out of the picture. It's still a great way to create a sense of community. And most of the time there's some crossover, whether it's, having kids around the same age, everybody being in the military, whatever the case may be. So it's a great opportunity for people to mix and mingle and actually make some new connections for themselves as well. So lenders, if you get the opportunity, or suggest to your favorite realtors, hey, we should do a client appreciation event together. Hey, we should go love on some of your people together. Hey, who's your favorite doctor's office? Let's go buy them lunch and go have a little quick chat with them over lunch. I used to work at a vet's office in my early 20s, and that was something that happened all the time. We would have all these different vendors coming in with like the latest heartworm medication, or just medication in general, or the accessories, extras for pets, food, whatever the case may be. And they would bring us lunch and then tell us about whatever they had going on. It's pretty cool. We were always happy to get free lunch and happy to listen to the information. So this is a great way that you can partner with your vendors to make this happen. So keep this in mind. Our lenders are our secret tool, okay? For so many reasons. When we have a powerhouse lender in our pocket, one, they usually get the job done, and they usually get it done quickly. Okay. The past 2 deals that I've had with my preferred lender in Tennessee, we've had the clear to close over 10 days prior to closing on both deals. One was mine personal, and then one was one of our best friends. Okay. We were sitting pretty both times. It was amazing. It's like, okay, you guys, we're just going to hang tight. Make sure you have your cash ready when it's closing day. We're in good shape. How amazing is that, right? So they get it done, and they get it done well. And then the other part is that they don't disappear. They work by relationship just like you do. And they're going to stay in contact with that client, with you, for you, on your behalf as well. And that is really cool, okay? So we also need to talk about negotiations. When you have a powerhouse lender that is known in your area, local lender, and you send over an offer and it says box lender pre-approval that somebody just printed offline, local lender pre-approval that you have worked with or had a transaction with in the past. As a seller's agent, which one are you going to go for? Box lender that I know there's nothing that's been done behind the scenes, more than likely, or this local lender that I've had a successful transaction with and it went smoothly, and I know that I can pick up the phone and call them and know exactly who I'm going to talk to and get an update. Because guess what? Seller agents can call the lender and get updates on that buyer client, even though they're not representing the buyer. That is in their responsibility to their seller to make sure that everything is going well with that transaction. So a local lender that is right there, easy to access, in the same time zone, well known in the community, had other transactions with that same agent that's listing this property, that is a great way to win a deal. If something is close or tight-knit and they know they can pick up that phone and just verify that you are well qualified and that that lender feels good about it and they get that seal of approval, I can't tell you, that's just like gold, right? And sometimes just because they know they're not going to have any hassle or mishaps and that they're going to have that open communication, it means the world, especially if somebody's on tight margins and really just needs a smooth transaction. Maybe they're in a stressful situation and the agent knows that and says, hey, I know you have a lot going on in the background, and I know we need to make this as simple and easy as possible. I have worked with this realtor before. I have worked with this lender before, and I know their style. I know the quality of their work, and I know they will work together to make sure everything is done. And the only time that we are going to hear from them, the only time they're going to bring us into the picture, is if we have to pull a Hail Mary for some reason. To me, I would say, all right, hands up, let's go. Thank you, right? So realtors, real estate agents, brokers alike, make sure you have that great vendor list and remember how powerful it is to create these powerhouse teams. We can uphold such a great level of service and a great name for our industry and help so many people achieve such an amazing accomplishment. And if you don't think that purchasing a home is an amazing accomplishment, you are not in the right business, my friend. I know people do it every day, all day, but it takes a lot. I was talking with somebody that was trying to prepare to be a first-time home buyer, and we're about 6 months out, And she said, I just don't know how anybody does it. How does anybody have enough money for down payments and closing costs? So we started talking about a lot of this, how you really need to know what the lender programs are and what's available to you. And then have somebody that's a strong negotiator that can potentially get you into a property with a seller concession credit, right? So the mixture thereof, if you have some housing, like the down payment assistance for closing costs or the down payment, and then the seller concessions combined, can help so much. So this is one of those points where, once again, if you have somebody that's nervous or doesn't know how to take the first steps and you have that information, you can put their mind at ease and you can say, hey, look, we need to start here. We need to talk to this lender and see what they say, because I have done this with them in the past and they were successful in helping another client be able to do X, Y, and Z. Now every scenario is different and we need to look at yours, but it's not my job to look at your financial history or background and know how to qualify you. But I know that this lender has this program, so let's go there. Let's start here and see if it's comfortable, see what we can accomplish, and then also, you're 6 months out. So we have 6 months to plan and put a great goal at the end of that 6 months. And this is also something that's really important when you're picking out your lenders that you're going to work with. You need to have that conversation with them and say, hey, if I have somebody that's on the fence, or if I have somebody that doesn't know if they're qualified, I need someone that's going to give them specific instructions on what we need to do to meet the end goal. Right? Do we maintain? Do we need to pay something off? Do we need to collect cash? What is our primary focus? And once again, communication needs to be wide open, because if you tell me, then I can reiterate the same exact thing to them and I can deep dive with them. I can say, hey, do you want to look at this? How can we plan this out? Right? Would you like me to check in with you monthly? What can I do to help keep you on track and keep you pumped and focused and realize that you're doing the hard work now and it's going to pay off, right? So all of this begins with jam up lenders behind us, backing us, creating that foundation for us to lay and stand on, right? Because once we're good with them, we can hit the ground running, right? We all want that button. We all want to hit the green button and just blast off. But we know that if we have some hodgepodge deal going on in the background, or we don't know who the lender is, we don't even know if they're really pre-qualified, if they just put numbers in online and who's verified it, that's our reputation on the line too. I hate to break it to you. We can't control people. And buyers have their choice of whatever lender they choose, right? We as a team. And it is still our job to double check, fact check, make communication with whomever they choose. So if we can make that easier on all parties and help them ahead of time, then kudos to you. So keep in mind, our lender partners are here for us. And the next time one calls you and says, hey, can I take you to lunch? You got to eat lunch. Go for it. I'll talk to you guys soon.